It's been a banner year for full-size helmets this year. And shockingly, we have one more addition that I was not expecting until next year. Let's get into this. All right, welcome to another episode of Paul's Collectibles. It's good to have you as always. Thanks for joining me. And today we're right back to talking about full-size Star Wars helmets. Now 2025 might just end up being the year where I got the most additions to my full-size Star Wars helmet collection. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting any more this year, but the Amazon exclusive Hasbro Black Series Commander Cody helmet arrived way earlier than I had expected. When I ordered this, they said it wasn't coming till March of next year, 2026, and it's here today, which is November 30th, which is absolutely amazing. Now, of course, Commander Cody is one of those helmets that I hear quite a bit from a lot of people saying, hey, when are they going to do a Commander Cody? I can't wait for a Commander Cody, and here it is. And when they did the Captain Rex, I figured it wasn't too far long because those are very similar helmets, and I thought, you know what, they might end up doing that, and I was very proud of myself for actually being right about something. And of course, everybody knows who Commander Cody is. He was the general, or the commander, of Obi-Wan Kenobi's 212th Attack Battalion, and we saw him in live action in Revenge of the Sith. But with that, let's get this thing out of the box, take a look at it in front of some lights, and see how they did with this one and see how it compares specifically to the rest of the awesome Hasbro Black Series helmets that we've gotten in 2025. Okay, when you first get it out of the box, it comes in two pieces that are pretty easy to put together, and I'm imagining that it came in these two pieces because they didn't want this little antenna thing to break, but it pops right in, and then when you're done, this is what it looks like. And let's take an overall look at the helmet before we get into the details. First of all, as always, these Black Series helmets, good sturdy plastic, nice and hard. This one's good and hefty. It's one of the large Phase 2 model helmets we get from them. And it's got a gloss paint for the white, and then the orange effects with the white trim and the gray here are all in a flat. Now, if you start off on the front here, the paint job on this, and I think we're going to end up talking about the weathering here in a few minutes because I'll concentrate on what I consider to be the good parts. First of all, once again, the lens, good and sturdy. The mouthpiece is three-dimensional here, and there's the fake netting behind it there. This gray part here is actually three-dimensional. I thought this would just be painted on, but this is ribbed down the sides like that. And then there's like a splotch of black paint right there. Underneath, he's got the metal vents that we're used to. This one has a different type of chin piece. This is white. Normally there's like a black vertical piece type thing right here. But the orange triangles painted on the bottom here, very nice. The brow underneath, they didn't have to do that, but you can actually see the black ring that's normally supposed to be there underneath of his visor, which is very cool. The visor is obviously a second piece, and it's mounted on either side right here in these wells. So this is a very hugely modified Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet mold as you look at it. Now, the brow is done very well. It's a little loose. Hold on. But that doesn't bother me because I'm assuming this would be a secondary piece that he put on himself. It's got the nice three-dimensional hole effects on the side here. This is all molded in very nicely. There's like a molded trim piece right through here, and then the white is painted on. It's got the scallop right there. And as you come around, you look at the sides, same on this side. It's got what I call the webcam, because if you're old enough and you're like me, you remember back in the 90s that webcams used to look like that, but that's molded in. It's a little loose, as you can see, like that, so you got to be careful. I'm sure you could break that off if you weren't careful. It looks like it's two pieces. It looks like it's actually just kind of recessed into a hole that was molded into the helmet there. So, but still done pretty well. The front of that's kind of chintzy with the gray right there. Like if I was really going to go crazy, I would put like a metallic, like a lens paint or something in there most likely, but that's going to do for now. And as you come around, where they could have, skipped if they wanted to was right in here with the gray, but it's still in there and you can still see it. This is that piece that I showed you to begin with the tiny little rangefinder on it. Like this looks like a really small Mandalorian rangefinder. If you look at like the big ones they have, this was that separate piece that you pop right in. These are three-dimensional. Very cool. And if you keep coming around, I love this. It's almost like a lavenderish purple effect he has going around the top here. That's really nice. I don't think I've ever noticed that before until literally just now. And then the rest of this helmet, except for up top here where it has these extra pieces molded on, these plastic pieces, they're really tight, so they might be actually part of the mold, or at least they're mounted on there really well, these grayish pieces. The rest of this helmet is the standard Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet that we've been getting from Hasbro. This is three-dimensional, and this is three-dimensional as well. This is where the batteries go. This one doesn't have any cool lights or phrases like the Disney helmets, which have the phrases. This is just a voice changer, so I'm not gonna mess with it. If you wanna mess with it or look at the voice changer, if you get it, go ahead, but they don't work very well most of the time. And as we come around, once again, we've got another piece. This is obviously placed into a well right here. This is not part of the actual mold. It's a little loose. This is a separate piece that's been attached to the helmet. Once again, not a problem because you would expect that his helmet is a modified Phase 2 that he had to attach parts to. And then we've got this interesting smokestack looking thing up here with the 4 tines on top. Little, little silly looking, not entirely sure, like the silver paint and the gold paint. This looks like something that was on that Revan helmet that I had, but overall not bad. I'm guessing this is the button. Yep, that would be the button that you push. Also three-dimensional to get the voice effects, and these are three-dimensional as I mentioned earlier. But unfortunately, let's look at something that's kind of bothering me here, and as you probably saw it as we went around. Now, Hasbro has a hit or miss record with weathering their helmets, okay? Now, at the bottom end of the spectrum were the Incinerator Trooper helmet and the Artillery Trooper helmet, which were just ridiculous. I mean, it was just so silly. And then at the top of the spectrum was the Captain Rex helmet, which they did a really, really good job on. And there's been some varying hit or misses in between there. The weathering on this helmet literally looks like somebody just took some gray paint and went around. It's not damage or smoke damage. It's not the worst weathering that Hasbro has done. I mean, it's nowhere near the Incinerator Trooper helmet, but this is disappointing when you consider what we saw on the Captain Rex helmet. I mean, just look at the top here. It's all basically the same shade. This is the best piece of weathering on there. That looks like the same thing on the Captain Rex helmet, where it looks like something pinged across there. But the rest of this just looks like smoke clouds or something. It's almost like it's supposed to be part of the design, like he's Cloud Trooper or something. If you look at this, none of it makes any sense. There's no weathering or grime buildup in any of the creases or anything where you would expect it to be. All along here, there's just little dabs of gray here and there where it doesn't really make any sense. And that, unfortunately, kind of detracts from the look of the helmet, but here's the thing. $100. I literally paid $99.99 on Amazon Prime, and for that price point, it is really difficult to complain about this kind of chintzy weathering, especially considering when you get better helmets. When I say better, I mean much more expensive, that have a little better weathering. You end up paying anywhere between $300 and $700. This is $100. So at this price point, it's really difficult for me to complain, but in the interest of being absolutely objective, I'm going to, because I know what they can do since I've seen the Captain Rex helmet, and this is that's just phoned in. It's chintzy. Now, it's a Commander Cody helmet. It's really cool looking. And here's the other thing. You only have to be minorly artistically inclined. I mean, not even really artistically inclined. To come behind this, there's a ton of videos on the internet that will show you how to paint on your own weathering, and you can make this helmet look 10 times better right in your own home by yourself. We ran into this same problem with the Death Trooper helmet, where they put a bunch of silly weathering on there that people didn't think should be on there. And I got a lot of comments on my video that said, hey, it comes right off with a magic eraser. So you can either probably try to take this off, or more likely what I would suggest is going over it. So this is a great helmet. They're 9/10 of the way there. It's just this weathering is silly. There's a couple of effects that I might paint a little differently, especially these metallic effects on the side, which look really toyish. There's no distinction between any of the parts there. And this thing too looks very toyish. They did a good job on the Mandalorian helmet making them look like metal, and then they phoned it in with this thing. It looks very toyish. It's easily fixable with a paintbrush, a sponge, and a couple of different types of paint. But really quick, I think we know what we're going to see on the inside, but let's take a look at the inside of the helmet anyway. Okay, and as you can see, they've really gone standard with what's on the interior of these helmets now. There's the padding way up at the top up there, and then the fake electronics and some of the other things in there, just to give it a little depth, a little character, but nothing to get too excited about. And once again, if you don't like this head rig, you see the head rig in there? It pops right off. All you have to do is reach in and pull it out of the wells on the other side. Then you can adjust it and put it back in, or just leave it out altogether if you're gonna wear it and put your own padding in there. But that's what it looks like. But there you have it. To round out 2025, the Commander Cody helmet from Hasbro Black Series. This was an Amazon exclusive. And overall, not a bad helmet. Just a couple of things on here that I think could be easily improved with some of the toyish looking additions to it, and the weathering. It's no Captain Rex helmet. I think that's one of the pinnacle helmets in this series, but it's nowhere near anything that at $100 price point I would super complain about. Like I said, the only reason I even bring it up, because I'm very blessed and very lucky to be able to buy these helmets at my will, is because I'm trying to be as objective as possible. And that weathering, specifically when you compare it to the Captain Rex helmet, is just subpar. But there it is. And in closing, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, maybe consider doing that. That's a great way to support my efforts here at Paul's Collectibles. And if you're already a subscriber or somebody who's been watching my videos for a really long time, you already know. I greatly appreciate you. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.